1. I live in the upper Midwest, and as most people that watch the weather know, we've had a significant amount of snowfall during Thursday, and where I am is expected to continue through tomorrow. One of my neighbors, I'm not certain who, otherwise I would have spoken to them, has been parking closer to my driveway than allowed by the ordinances of the city we live in. Ordinance says no closer than 3 feet of the curb line change. During the summer, no big deal. Sometimes it was difficult to get enough space to get my trash out and recycle out to the road and still have room to get out of the driveway, but I made it work. Because I know we get large amounts of heavy snow, I put a reflector in the right-of-way, so I know where a smallish sapling is, to make sure I do not pile up the chunks of road ice, and I figured I would be helpful to people parking on the road and put it at the 3-foot mark. Friday morning, after over a foot of snow has fallen, I head out to go to work, and this car is well past the 3-foot mark. In fact, their front tire passed the 3-foot mark. Another neighbor is parked across the street, and because I have a very narrow street, it makes for a fun time getting my car out. At work, I decide if I can't figure out who they are, I will have to report them to get a ticket using my city's online app. My day passes, and when I get home, the car has not moved. I check the app, and nothing has been noted. This morning, I get up early because I have to clear all the snow from my sidewalk before someone decides to report it as not cleared. Another ordinance thing, and lo and behold, they have still not moved. This means the plows can't get near enough to my curb to clear some of the snow, so that I am left with half the street in front of my driveway not cleared of any snow. Well, I want to be able to get out of my driveway without getting stuck, so that snow has to go somewhere, and I'm not walking it all around that car to get it into the right-of-way. So I just shoveled it all right up against the front of the car and the driver's side door of their car. As of right now, there is another car parked behind them, so I don't think they will be able to back away to get around it. Update. So, it has still not moved all day yesterday, so I have reported it as an abandoned vehicle. The police will take their sweet time coming out to do anything about it, but we will see what happens. Apparently, the parking enforcement police came by yesterday and did ticket it. They stuck the ticket on the driver's side mirror, which was pretty ingenious, I think. Final update. The car moved at some point this afternoon, so no getting towed. 2. I've lived in this apartment for just over a year, and I've interacted with my neighbor 3 times. Each time it is for him to complain at me that I'm slamming the doors and making the walls shake, and it's really disturbing. In the first interaction, I apologized profusely, saying I had no idea. Said, "Oh, you should have left me a note or something. I don't want to be inconsiderate." Said I'd be more careful and asked if there were any other issues. He basically kept repeating, "Yeah, it just shakes the whole wall and it's really disturbing." I was horrified that I committed the heinous sin of bothering somebody. I'm a recovering doormat, and also really confused because I don't slam doors. Ever. I didn't even realize he was talking about the front door at first, and my first thought was, what is he talking about? All the interior doors are propped open because cat. I've spent way too much time thinking about this, and figured out that when the wind blows a certain direction, there is negative air pressure in the hallway, which pulls the front door closed with some force, unless you carefully hold the handle the entire way and make the door close entirely. The neighbor's apartment is a mirror image, so his door opens the other way, and he may not realize this. It also seems to be more of a problem when I have my balcony door open. I have legitimately tried to train myself to never let the front door swing closed. You should see me on my hands and knees dragging groceries in, sliding them across the kitchen floor, because I don't want to walk in with both hands full and let the front door swing behind me. But basic human doing your best only goes so far. and there have been 2 more times that I forgot and he came out to complain at me. After the second interaction, I was really bothered that he still seemed to think I was slamming the door deliberately, and I left a note on his door apologizing again, explaining about the wind thing, and reiterating that I would do my best and it wasn't intentional. The third interaction went like this. I forgot my keys, ran back inside to get them off the counter, and allowed the door to slam shut behind me. He came out as I was locking my door.
"You're doing it again."
"I'm sorry, I'm doing my best."
"It's incredibly disturbing. It makes the whole wall shake."
"I'm doing my best. What more do you want me to do?"
"Stop slamming the door."
He went back inside after I yelled at him. "You know it's not on purpose, right? You know it's the wind." I'm a little oversensitive to people telling me that my best isn't good enough. My neighbor does not appreciate my efforts, so I will no longer be making any. As of yesterday, I have started letting the door swing itself closed every single time. I may even be opening my balcony door ahead of time. And I think the dog needs a few extra walks today. And whoops, looks like I forgot something from my car. He's already upset. He's made a noise complaint, but I let them know about the situation before beginning my petty revenge. As far as I can see, I am perfectly within my rights to allow my front door to swing closed. You know, like everybody else does. And that's what I'll be doing until he apologizes for being an ungrateful perfectionist jerk, or until I move out in February. And on that note, it's time to take the dog out. 3. My boyfriend, now fiancé, builds and sells computers as a side hobby. He personally drives around picking up computer parts and charges a little extra for labor and a small profit. He usually lists on Facebook Marketplace and meets the buyer in person to exchange the computer for money. A couple of years ago, I joined him as he drove to the CBD to sell a high-specs computer for $1,100 to a guy he met on Facebook Marketplace. As I waited in our car, he went outside and carried the computer to the guy's car. A few minutes later, he came back and I happened to see his bank app open on his phone, and saw that my boyfriend had taken a photo of the guy's phone as proof of transfer. On the top, it had scheduled payment. I worked at a bank at the time and I knew straight away that my boyfriend had been scammed. It wasn't a legit transfer and he could just cancel it afterwards. I told my boyfriend to call the guy as we gave him the benefit of the doubt that he'd made a mistake. The guy said he'd be back, but never showed up, blocked my boyfriend's number and blocked him on Facebook too. Here is where our revenge began. The guy was stupid enough to not put his Facebook profile on private. We went through his profile and saw it was fairly active. I tried to see whether we had any mutual friends and we didn't, but by sheer luck, I clicked on a random profile on his friends list and found that I had a single mutual friend with this person. I asked my friend whether she knew his friend, who was another girl, and she said yes, that they worked together. And so I asked my friend to reach out to the girl to say that her friend, the thief, had stolen our computer and we were trying to reach him. We also sent messages and screenshots to about 20 people who had either liked or commented on his post recently. The next day, we found he had put his Facebook profile on private, but it was too late. We already had received a few replies from his friends and even a member of his family saying they'd talked to him, and the guy finally called my boyfriend back. He had the audacity to accuse my boyfriend of ripping him off as he'd taken the computer to a pawn shop, and they would only take it for like $450, and for ruining his reputation with all his friends, family, and especially the girl he'd been pursuing romantically for a while now. Yes, the girl who was my friend's work colleague, whose profile we randomly stumbled upon, was the girl he'd been crushing on for ages and had been going on dates with. They were literally seeing each other, and we'd accidentally and inadvertently exposed his filthy true nature to her. Like, what are the friggin' chances? I later heard from my friend that the girl broke it off and will no longer talk to him, as she is disgusted with his behavior, and him as a person in general. Anyways, he called to meet up, and we ended up getting our computer back, but not without further verbal harassment from him for ruining his life. He demanded we tell everyone we messaged it was a misunderstanding, that it was all a mistake, and we were like, okay, sure, buddy, just to get him off our backs. However, as we drove off into the glorious sunset, we sent an update and thank you messages to those who replied, and promptly deleted all the chats. 4. This all happened 2 years ago. I live in a 4-floor condo, maybe about 100 units in the building. I am on the 3rd floor. For nearly 2 years, I listened to the neighbors upstairs right above me renovate their unit, starting right at the crack of dawn till the last minute that Strata allowed construction to be done. Only on Saturdays did I get some peace and quiet. Not only this, they had very heavy feet and stay up all night. I would see them in the elevator sometimes. The husband was one of those people with little man syndrome. I'm talking 5 feet tall, and was not much liked in the building. I questioned the construction in a polite and humble way, as I planned to do some renos very soon too. He told me to fuck off and mind my own business. Recently, I had been getting many strata fines for various reasons. Not knowing where they came from, I asked around. A friend of mine was on strata and advised it was probably, with most certainty, my upstairs neighbor, as they seem to be the only ones who ever submit any type of claims or violations for anything against neighbors. Cost me over $500 before I plotted my revenge. I recently had my flooring redone in my place with new hardwood. Before getting this done, I contacted Strata and they advised that 70% of the floor must be covered by area rugs to prevent unwanted noise in the suite below. You must also advise Strata of any new flooring to make sure it's in compliance with sound deadening and whatnot for noise sake. This is where I plotted my revenge. Knowing how loud the upstairs neighbors were, I knew they didn't have any rugs on their flooring, or even the wrong underlay on the flooring itself, so I made a complaint to Strata about the noise. This is where it gets good. 5 days later or so, I could hear my upstairs neighbor freaking out, screaming at the top of his lungs. I didn't know what was going on, so I went up the stairs and peeked my head into the hallway. 2 members of Strata were there talking to him. This went on for a good 10 minutes and quieted down. Over the next week, I could hear construction again. After talking to my neighbor, my friend, turns out all the work they did in the unit was not approved by Strata, but most important, the flooring was not up to code and spec with what Strata deemed fit for the building. No underlay and very thin flooring was used. They had to rip out all their flooring because of this, costing them thousands of dollars to remove and reinstall everything up to Strata code. If you want to live by the Strata code, you must abide by the Strata code. I have not received one complaint since this happened. 5. 6 months ago, I worked part-time at a university retail store, as I was a grad student and had to make money somehow. Also note that I'm the only male retail associate, working amongst 12 female retail associates. Almost all of them are nice, but there's this one girl who dislikes me for some unknown reason. By default, I have treated my coworkers with courtesy, but that courtesy was never returned to me by this girl. During May, our university has a commencement ceremony for all graduates, and the university retail store where I work is in charge of handling all graduation regalia. Since there are many boxes of regalia arriving at the store, my manager had a all-hands-on-deck because she needed all the help she got. So naturally, I'm there with some of my coworkers, making sure all the boxes are organized so we do not mix up all the graduation robe orders we received from students. For the uninitiated, regalia is specific for bachelor, master's, and doctoral degrees. While bachelor and master's degree regalia are pretty simple, doctoral regalias are complex, as the tassels and hoods are specially color-coded according to every doctoral candidate's major. While we're doing this, my coworker B decides not to help and chit-chat with a few of her friends who had just walked in the store. Since we were pretty busy, I approached B and asked her if she could help us arrange all the boxes. She replied, "I'm a little busy right now catching up with my friends. I'll come help you when I'm done." The way she said it was condescending and rubbed me the wrong way. I wanted to explode on her in front of her friends, but managed to keep my cool and walked back to the area, and explained it to my co-workers that we shouldn't expect Bee's help yet. Co-workers started saying that she needs to act according to her wage, as she's not a manager, but our co-worker. As we were getting back to work, a neat little idea popped into my head. Cue my petty revenge. Since most of my co-workers were helping with the boxes, I suggested that we should split up the boxes in batches so they can be easier to tackle. When they all agreed, most of my co-workers, including myself, assigned ourselves to sorting either bachelor's or master's degree regalias. And you guessed it, I left the sorting of all the doctoral candidates' regalia to B. As an icing on the fuck you cake, I got my manager's signature on the sorting list, making it official, and proceeded to put it up on the employee pinboard. When B strolls back to where we were working on the boxes, all co-workers inform her that she's working on the doctoral candidates' regalia boxes. Also, due to the extra stuff inside these boxes, they're fragile and need to be handled carefully. Out of the corner of my eye, I see her trying to shepherd the box in its right place. She gets through with 2 boxes, and while she's trying to get 3 boxes in position at the same time, all 3 boxes split at the bottom, and all the regalia spills out on the floor. Now remember when I said doctoral regalia is complex, and every graduation robe is paired with their individual tassel and hood of specific color. It all gets mixed together, and B is freaking out. When she asks us all to come help sort it out, I turn to her and say in a calm voice, "We'll come help you when we're done." Legend says that she's still trying to sort through all that regalia by herself. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Revenge is Ice Cream, episode 195. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please hit that like button and share the video around with friends and family. If you care to do so, you can find all sorts of Hellfreezer-related links in the description. And there's also a Spanx button down there if you want to give Spanx. Oh, thanks. Sorry. Yeah, thanks. Always mix those two up. It's gotten me in trouble in the past. Alrighty, let's see. We have a birthday shout-out to do today. I have this here. There we go. And today's shout-out goes to Melissa. I don't know what their YouTube name is, but they're Melissa, and they are 20 years old today. A big happy birthday to you, Melissa. And now, don't tell everyone I'm doing this, but since it is so close to the end of the month, you can celebrate your birthday all the way through, right the way through January as well. Why not? It is the holiday season. You might want to pace yourself with the cake a little bit, because that's like over 2 months. Yummy though it may be. I actually started baking again last weekend, so that was fun. I made scones. Give me a craving for more. So I'm having to resist the urge. Well, I just need to, I've got flour and everything. I just need to get more butter or butter spread, because that works fine for baking, in my experience. But whatever you do, Melissa, please do make sure you're taking time to spoil yourself and relax and cherish this time. And before we go, I'd like to sing there'll be a question of the day, but before that, I'd like to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melissa. Happy birthday to you. Okay then, let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: when celebrating your birthday, if you don't like cake, what do you have in place of it? There are many alternatives, of course. I mean, you could go for pie, go for crumble, go for ice cream, go for some sort of horrible abomination of all of them, and it would be delicious. Me, personally, I like cake. I like pie. I'm not fussy. I enjoy both. I don't pick a love between the two. I don't discriminate when it comes to desserts. However, I'm always looking for new ideas and things to try, so please do leave your suggestions in a comment below, and I look very much forward to reading them. I'll probably do more baking this weekend, actually. Discons last weekend. I've got like cooking chocolate and things. I could do a cake. I did get new cake tins a while back and not really use them. I also need to pick up a loaf tin. because I keep thinking about making banana bread, which I've never had. I know, sacrilege, right? But it's not complicated to make, so maybe give that a go. But for now, I'm going to head off. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.